Hey there, here are a couple of palm tree shot glasses I've engraved recently, and I want to show you a tutorial on how I made them. I'm going to alternate between showing you this on paper and then in engraving form. So let's check it out. So the first thing we'll do is draw the trunk of the palm tree. That's going to be pretty simple to begin. Just a couple of parallel lines, and they will usually slope pretty obviously in at least one direction with a palm tree. That's characteristic of the way they grow, and it looks cool too. So the stem is pretty simple to start out with. So obviously what appears black here is going to be white when engraved. So that's the first thing. Next I'm going to draw the spines of the palm fronds or the leaves. And it looks a bit like fireworks, all emanating from the tip of that stem. So if the line of the leaf is going to the left side of the trunk, well then it's going to bend gradually slightly more rightward. So they're always bending in the direction of gravity. So getting a good canopy for your palm first is going to set you up to add the details, and that's just going to make it look cool. So it looks a bit like a spider, the way the legs pop away from the tree and then angle towards the ground as they get further from that central point. We'll add the details to the leaves in a minute, but I'll show you how to finish the trunk. And again, this is going to appear white, what I'm drawing here. So you can put the thicker side of the drawing of the trunk on the side that you want the light to be coming from. So I'll imagine in this case that the light is coming from my left over here, which means I want to have a bit more whiteness on this left side. I want to engrave more on that left side. So I'll just thicken up the left side of the trunk. So that's the starting point. What makes a palm tree trunk look like a palm tree? Well, the sort of characteristic appearance of it is these horizontal lines that repeat up the trunk. They're sort of banded if you look at the trunk of a palm tree, the way the bark grows. This is probably a bit of a simplification of the way it would look on an actual palm tree, but we only have so much space here, and as we're doing this as a small image, you're not going to be able to see super amounts of detail, nor would you be able to put that level of detail in, and you don't need it. So these lines are going to be white, and they curl a little bit as well, just to reflect that the trunk is in 3D. It's a cylinder, it's not flat, so each one has a bit of a curve, and that same curve is repeated on each one all the way up the trunk until they vanish because they're so small up here. And then, just to soften the edge where this light meets this area of darkness, we can just add a few more nicks extending out of that area and into the negative space there. So that reflects that there's a gradual transition between the light and the shadow. and the trunk has some roughness to it, and so putting in those little nicks. We'll show that. And then up here, to finish off the leaves, or the palm fronds, each of these spines in a palm leaf has a bunch of little leaves coming off it. And they start out long, closer to the central point, and then they get shorter as you move towards the tip. And they're affected by gravity as well. And there's two sets, so in each one of these I'll have one set and then a second set, which I'll just layer right over top. In some cases, if the leaf is facing the viewer more directly, then you can show both sets on opposite sides of that spine. In other cases, like this one where we're seeing the leaf more from the side, they're both going to hang down to the same side of that spine, and we'll just layer them together. And our brain will do the trick of understanding that there's a bunch of leaflets in there. 2 layers, in fact, for each one.
So that's how it's done, and this is the finished product. I've got 2 shot glasses that are great for a tropical drink. If you happen to make something like this or anything else, I'm curious to hear about your projects and how they go. Drop me a line in the comment section below. You can also check out my website, www.randymcveigh.com, for lots of other engraved designs, and stay tuned to this YouTube channel for other tutorials. Thanks for watching.